Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, President and Founder of AgileDad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. So without any further ado, let's get started. It's Wednesday. Life is good. Things are on the move, and we are talking about the product manager again. That's right. We're trying hard to get this week all dedicated to product managers. So all you product managers out there, we're showing you some love. So let's talk about the 4 key skills that no one talks about when they're talking about a product manager. So if you're going to be an effective product manager, you understand already that's a fundamental role. And that to succeed, you have to be diverse in quite a variety of necessary competencies. It can't just be any one set of skills that you have. So being a driving force in a product means that you have to have both technical and non-technical knowledge wrapped up so that you can get those two to meet each other and so that you can be more competent in the things that you're discussing. So it's almost like this perfect Venn diagram of user experience, technology, and business, where you're kind of right in the middle of that. So you're right smack in the middle of where that is. So if you think about it that way, I'm going to talk about 4 skills that no one ever discusses. So the first one's called product sense, right? Or product intuition. It's not necessarily something concrete, but it's a skill to understand what makes a product credible. So it's a skill to be able to judge relevant solutions for user problems and find out how they can make your product more superior. But it's important for you to have this skill to where you profoundly understand the objective of the product, keeping both the business and the client in mind. And that's your bafata, right? You continuously evaluate product deliverables and factors which are contributing or detracting from what you're trying to do, so enablers and disablers. And you're learning to seek the truth and not just trying to validate what you think is right. So I think this all boils down to research, right? You need to find opportunities where your product can excel, things that you can work on, and you need to find parts of your product where it really serves the best goal. So there's lots of opportunity here. So that's truth number 1, or skill number 1 that people don't talk about. The second one's one of my favorites. I call it being an empath, or showing empathy. Empathy is the greatest skill a product manager can have. Okay, empathy in product management means that you have an option to either hinder enough to tune in and watch, or be sufficiently humble to learn and change, and that you're ready to comprehend what somebody is managing and try hard to understand them. This is the tie-in with people versus like intellectuality, and recognizing certain things or circumstances are just going to be the case. It's important to understand all the customer's pain points, but at the same time, you need to understand that the pain points come from your empathy. It's not wrong to say that most of the time a product fails because the focus was on the wrong problem, right? And you hear me say all the time when I'm talking to product owners and Scrum Masters alike, I always talk to them and I say, you need to diagnose. You need to listen to the symptoms and make a diagnosis. It's not about just automatically pointing to a single source solution. And I think that when you miss out on these insights, that's what stifles. So you can do this by being a good listener, turning your insights into action, and getting back to more conversation. I know we're still in pandemic land, but the truth is more and more conversation is starting to happen, and I think it's totally cool. So how about this one? Number 3, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but it really works. Be less intelligent. Play the I'm just learning card, right? Be the learner, I guess is a better way to put it. No matter how much experience you have, no matter how many products you built to date, you should always be asking the who, what, why, when, where, and how. Start with accepting the fact that you know nothing about what people want, right? If you go in with cognitive bias, or if you go in with direction or steering, you might assume you know what the people want when you actually have no idea what they really need. So always be in a state of mind where you're learning. And this will always give you the light to explore and come up with more creative ideas. So this is going to be your path to figure out exactly how you're going to get to where you're trying to get. So always make sure you're asking why, how, when, what, who. All of those things are so incredibly important. So incredible, right? There's just so much to cover when it comes to doing this. So first principle thinking is another. So most product managers follow first principle thinking. That helps them to stick with the basics, right? Always ask about the basic problem. Why are we building this product? What problem are we trying to solve? Who's going to be using this product? This helps the product managers bound their teams around what the basic problem is and identify that vision and strategy that's going to lead it to a solution. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And a bonus one, and I'll throw in there for you, is that you should always be emotionally strong. Product owners, product managers, they're the decision makers when it comes to product development. So they need to be emotionally strong in the process. Sometimes they need to make big decisions where they have to choose to prioritize what's going to be done and what's not going to be done. So they put their blood and sweat into developing what's to be completed. But the product manager is expected to be emotionally strong because sometimes you're going to face a situation where they have to discontinue something that's their baby, or they're going to have to put something on hold or not work on something. And sometimes they have to deliver hard news when it comes to failure or the product going in a different direction. And I think it's important for you to really understand and go through the cycles of being aware, right? Having emotional self-awareness, and then managing within yourself, using self-control, adaptability, reorienting yourself, looking for the positive outlook, having some social awareness where you're expressing empathy and going through organizational awareness, making sure everyone knows what's going on, and then managing relationships with influence, using coaching skills, conflict management skills, building teamwork, and being an inspirational leader. I think those are the keys that are going to help you really zoom in and drive force and just really be that product manager you're trying to be. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Daily Stand-Up Podcast. As always, we encourage you to visit AgileDad.com where you can learn more about this topic or plenty others. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile. If you have a topic you want covered on the Daily Stand-Up Podcast, learn more at AgileDad.com. We'd love to hear your idea. Until next time, do take care.